We're joined by Andrew Kirtzman, the author of this book, Giuliani, The Rise and Tragic Fall of America's Mayor. Andrew, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Can you do this? You have a chapter in the book called Combat, Trial by Combat, which is exactly what January 6th, before the riot, the insurrection, and the insanity of January 6th took place. Trial by combat. Why do you think he said that? And do you believe he had a double-sided question? Do you think he had any idea how that could have potentially incited that crowd?
I don't know that he wanted them to storm the Capitol, but I think that he and Trump
what do they mean by trial by combat? Did we ever have any sense of that?
I think he was ginning up the crowd and getting them as angry as possible, right? And I think that he didn't necessarily care about the repercussions. They were trying to get this kind of major backlash by the base to cause that election to be completely upended. And Giuliani doesn't do anything halfway, right? So he was trying to work up the anger in that crowd as much as possible, and he's sure he contributed to it, no question.
Curious about this. There's this big section of the book, and Andrew has written about Giuliani before. He's a Giuliani biographer, the best, if you will, of many people who've written about Giuliani. So, Rudy Giuliani, New York City, race relations, David Dinkins,
right? Back
in the day. Please, Andrew, talk to us.
Well, David Dinkins was New York City's first Black mayor. He was a historic figure because of that. And Giuliani ran against him twice, once unsuccessfully and once successfully. And there was such a major racial schism between his supporters and Dinkins that, race became a major issue in both elections. Giuliani is, Italian-American Catholic from the outer boroughs, raised also in Long Island, very white background. His political base is mostly white. There was just kind of a lack of interest, you might say, in kind of the needs of minority communities, because that was not his political base. And he was very happy to play an inflammatory role in the matter of race relations. There was, famous incident in which the police murdered a man named Patrick Dorismond, who was perfectly innocent. And they did a sting, and he just kind of got caught in the middle. And Giuliani went on to completely excoriate him and damage his reputation and go after his reputation as though he was some kind of common criminal, which he wasn't.
Why?
Well, on one hand, he was defending his police in that action. But on another, Giuliani is kind of from the shoot to kill kind of school of politics, right? And which he wanted to kind of demonize whoever was making his police force look bad. But I think you could argue that there was also just an intrinsic racial insensitivity in Giuliani. And go fast forward a couple of decades later, right, when during the Black Lives Matter movement, Giuliani took almost pleasure going on Meet the Press and other programs and just hurling one kind of, bomb after another, at the Black community, urging the leaders of the Black community to kind of get control of your people, right? There was just completely inflammatory rhetoric about that. I mean, to say that Giuliani is insensitive to Black Black population sentiments would be an understatement.
At the core is Rudy Giuliani, formerly America's mayor after 9/11, from your view, based on his public rhetoric at critical times, both in New York City and nationally, as you talked about the Black Lives Matter movement, murder of George Floyd on camera, knee on his neck from a police officer, and others watched. Rudy Giuliani, is rhetoric racist?
I think that his rhetoric has come as close to racism as possible.
You think at the core he's racist?
I can't answer that. You can only look at his actions. I think his actions were sometimes almost designed to create friction between the Black and white communities.
Last question on this. How much do you think Donald Trump learned from Rudy Giuliani about dealing with the Black community and, quote, race, not to mention polarizing, or some might argue adding fuel to the racial divisions that already exist, please?
Right. Well, I think Donald Trump is as transactional a politician as you'll ever meet. Minorities are not part of his base. You could argue that he got to where he is by kind of inflaming the anger and insecurities of middle America, middle American whites against minorities, against immigrants, people of color, anyone trying to kind of take away what the shrinking American middle class, the middle America, has held onto.
Is that what Rudy Giuliani did in New York City?
I think Giuliani catered towards his white base in a major way.
That's Andrew Kirtzman. The book is Giuliani, The Rise and Tragic Fall of America's Mayor. Andrew, we've been colleagues for a long time. Like I said, this is one of those books, cover to cover, marked up, and learned from you, particularly as a student of leadership, and having a great deal of respect for Rudy Giuliani at a different time for different reasons after 9/11. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Andrew.
Thank you. I so appreciate the opportunity, Steve. Appreciate it.
We appreciate you. Thank you. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back.
Think Tank with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by NJ Best, New Jersey's 529 College Savings Plan, PSE&G, Wells Fargo, New Jersey Sharing Network, PSC, Englewood Health, Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, Prudential Financial, and by the Fidelco Group. Promotional support provided by CIANJ and Commerce Magazine, and by NorthJersey.com and Local IQ.
What is your child's dream for the future? Doctor? Teacher? Architect? Whatever they aspire to be, a college education may realize those dreams. And NJ Best can help. It's the college savings plan specifically designed for New Jersey families. Start saving today with as little as $25, because now is the time to invest in their future. To learn about NJ Best 529 College Savings Plan, its investment objectives, risks, and costs, read the Investor Handbook available at njbest.com.